is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Good evening, Philippines, and good day, world. It's Thursday, October 5th, 2023, and you're watching Newsline World. I'm David Lira.
And I'm Mayk Oliveira. We are here to bring you the top stories we've gathered from all over the globe.
Vice President Sara Duterte say those who are opposing the confidential funds are enemies of peace and enemies of the state.
The Marcos administration assures continuous support to vulnerable sectors amid the rising inflation.
Tensions between Azerbaijan and Armenia continue to escalate as Aliyev reportedly turned down a meeting with Pashin.
Oil giants Russia and Saudi Arabia ignored Western cap on oil prices and will continue to reduce production.
Gilas Pilipinas triumphs over China's basketball team at the 19th Hangzhou Asian Games.
This and more for tonight's edition of Newsline World.
First in the news, Vice President Sara Duterte blasted critics who are opposing the confidential funds, saying that they are enemies of peace and are enemies of the state. Jason Fabrico reports.
Makinig kayo sa lahat ng sinasabi sa palibot ninyo at tandaan ninyo kung sino man ang kumukontra sa confidential funds ay kumukontra sa kapayapaan. Kung sino ang kumukontra sa kapayapaan ay kalaban ng bayan.
This was Vice President Sara Duterte's strong message during the 122nd Police Service Anniversary at the regional headquarters of Police Regional Office 13 in Butuan City. Vice President Duterte explained that confidential funds are important for maintaining security by providing funds to immediately meet unexpected challenges such as terrorism or the preservation of the safety of the country.
These funds enable our law enforcement agencies and intelligence bodies, as well as other national government agencies and equally important local government units to protect our citizens effectively. They allow us to respond promptly to security threats, ensuring the safety of our people and the stability of our nation.
Duterte also added that the allocation of confidential funds should not be constrained by time as it involves the safety and security of Filipinos.
The allocation of confidential funds should not be constrained by time. It matters not whether it takes 1 day or 1 year of spending. What truly matters is the safety and security of our people. Anyone who attacks or undermines funds allocated for peace and order is naturally assumed to have insidious motivations. Such actions go against the protection and well-being of the citizenry.
In the end, the Vice President called on the public to unite against any malicious attack against the funds earmarked for peace and order. For God and my beloved Philippines, I am Jason Rubrico, SMNI News.
A series of protests occurred across Canada to show opposition against NATO's intervention in the Ukraine conflict. The details with Andrea Santos.
More than 10 cities in Canada have witnessed a series of protests criticizing NATO's intervention in the ongoing Ukraine crisis. The demonstrators are also demanding Canada's withdrawal from NATO over the past week. The protests started on October 1 and are expected to last through October 8. In Vancouver, people took the street to make their voice heard despite low temperature and rains on October 2.
We are here today because there are people facing homelessness, hunger, unable to get a job or education because the government of Canada instead is sending money to NATO. We are here today because we know that NATO is a military arm of the U.S. government and their allies, including Canada, and is provoking war in Europe.
Protesters said Canada is now plagued with multiple problems and the government should focus on internal affairs instead of funding a war far away in Europe. Now many have realized that the military alliance of NATO is not an organization for peace.
Any sort of desire for peace from the governments of Canada or the United States is a desire for more war. Alongside this, sending depleted uranium and cluster bombs, banned weapons in many countries to Ukraine, this is something that is going to cause death and destruction for generations.
To recall, the Ukraine-Russia conflict broke out on February 2022 and has dragged on for more than a year. The U.S.-led NATO keeps sending heavy weapons to Ukraine, worsening the situation. The prolonged crisis has created economic and social woes in both countries and significantly slowed the world's post-pandemic recovery. Reporting, this is Andrea Santos, SMNI News.
The Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, refuted speculations that China was involved in the maritime incident that killed 3 fishermen. The details with Frederico Veloso live. Fred?
Yes, David, the PCG announced that the maritime incident that left 3 Filipino fishermen dead was an accident. The Philippine Coast Guard clarified that the collision of the fishing boat of the Filipino fishermen with a commercial vessel was not intentional, but rather it was just an accident. According to PCG Commodore J. Tariela, the spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, based on the testimony of the surviving fishermen, at the time the area was too dark and the weather was bad, so there is a possibility that their fishing was not noticed by the boat.
Now, kung ang question is if we already have information to say whether the accident was intentional and deliberate or talagang aksidente lang. As far as the initial information that we have right now, we can say na hindi naman ito talaga deliberate.
The PCG also clarified that the incident happened on the coastal area of Pangasinan, not in the immediate vicinity of Bajo de Masinloc.
So I would like to correct that statement na una naming na ilabas, na inuugnay natin ito sa Bajo de Masinloc. But definitely, if you're going to plot yung area na kung saan nabangga itong ating mga mangingisda, ito ay may distansya na 180 nautical miles from Agno, Pangasinan. So mas malapit siya sa Pangasinan kumpara sa Bajo de Masinloc.
The PCG also reported that the remains of 3 fishermen who died have been recovered. As for the 11 survivors, Tariela said that they have returned to Pangasinan using their service boats. Meanwhile, the PCG strongly rejected speculations that China was involved in the maritime incident.
Ito ay isang aksidente, walang kinalaman sa China. It's not deliberately rammed as what was speculated by some, at hindi ito Chinese Coast Guard or Chinese Maritime Militia.
David, the PCG first announced that the government is doing everything to hold those responsible for the incident accountable. President Marcos Jr. also had previously assured justice for the victims that he would provide help for the victims' families. Back to you, David.
Thank you. That's Frederico Veloso live on SMNI Studios.
Meanwhile, the Marcos administration secured and assures continuous support to the vulnerable sectors amid the rising inflation rate. President Catarong reports.
The administration of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. gave assurance for its continued support to the most vulnerable sectors. This is while the government is implementing the necessary measures to respond to the increase in prices. The statement was made by the Presidential Communications Office after the release of a report by the Philippine Statistics Authority that inflation increased to 6.1% in September 2023 from 5.3% in August. Higher inflation was recorded in food, particularly in rice, meat, fruits, and corn. Meanwhile, the prices of fish, vegetables, sugar, eggs, dairy products, bread and other cereals, recorded slower inflation. In this regard, the Marcos administration has guaranteed that the support provided by the government will continue to those who belong to the vulnerable sectors, especially consumers as well as farmers. This was announced by National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA Secretary Arsenio amid the movement in the price of basic goods last month. Among the government's initiatives is the Digital Food Stamp Program of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, which was launched on September 29, 2023. It aims to address the lingering incidence of food poverty and malnutrition in low-income Filipino households by providing 3,000 pesos worth of food grants. The agency will also provide a 10,000 cash subsidy to 78,000 farmers listed in the Pantawid Pamilya Pilipino program or 4Ps. In addition, rice farmers are set to receive 5,000 pesos in financial assistance to help maintain their productivity. Moreover, the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, launched the provision of the fuel subsidies to 74,089 public utility vehicles. On September 18th, the National Food Authority Council set a new buying price for palay, aimed at giving Filipino farmers a higher income. For God and for my beloved Philippines, this has been Kerseling Katarong, SMNA News.
The government of Thailand vowed to enhance the safety of all tourists after a deadly shooting incident at a luxurious shopping mall in Bangkok, claiming the life of 2 people and injured 5 others. Chatmongon Pisamegozon has the details.
Thai Prime Minister Sethar Thavisin vowed to restore public confidence in the wake of a tragic shooting at Siam Paragon, a busy shopping complex in the heart of Bangkok, which is a popular hangout for foreign tourists. A 14-year-old suspect has been charged with 6 counts, including premeditated murder. The tragedy happened at a time when Thailand was approaching its high tourism season and was looking to boost its local economy by revitalizing its tourism sector.
หนีตายครับทุกคนคือวิ่งแบบไม่มีการวางแผนว่าทิศทางที่เราจะวิ่งไปเนี่ยจะไปเจอเขาไหมหรือจะไปเจออะไรทุกคนคือวิ่งแบบ
The Prime Minister said he called China's ambassador to Thailand to reassure him of the government's steps action to enhance public safety. In response, the Chinese ambassador told Sethar that the incident would not affect the confidence of the Chinese government and Chinese tourists.
After all the facts has been found, I called the Chinese ambassador and apologized to him about the unfortunate incident, and I have reassured him that the Thai government is doing all we can to help. And Excellency has been kind enough to give me support and understanding, and he is certain that it will not affect the confidence of the Chinese government and the Chinese tourists.
Meanwhile, a South Korean internet streamer went viral after she captured the real-time perspective of the chaos and panic that ensued during the shooting spree. She was in the middle of a live stream at the restaurant in Siam Paragon when a gunshot made her stand up from her chair and run for her life. Other shoppers could be seen panicking and dashing for safety as they all ran to the exit. Thailand sees China as a crucial market for its tourism industry. Chinese visitors accounted for around 1/3 of its nearly 40 million visitors in 2019. Thailand's new visa-free entry program for tourists kicked off on September 25th and will run until the 29th of February 2024. The Southeast Asian nation aims to attract 2.9 million Chinese arrivals and generate a staggering 140 billion baht in tourism revenue over the next 5 months. รายงานจากกรุงเทพมหานคร นายชัดมงคล วิสมัยโกศล SMN News ประเทศไทย สวัสดีครับ
More news when Newsline World returns.
SMN
is no country like the Philippines. This is the most beautiful country in the world.
Dapat lahat ng Pilipino magmahal sa Pilipinas.
365 days, 52 weeks, 8,760 hours, 24/7 uninterrupted service, all in the service of God and country. Indeed made a significant difference for the Philippines and the lives of every Filipino. But we will not stop here. This is just the beginning.
We already have that image right now of SMNI, that SMNI is only standing for the truth, that SMNI and its credibility is inviolable, that SMNI and its integrity is not for sale. That is the image that SMNI right now, because credibility to us is more than ₱1 billion, as long as our credibility stands, that we are telling only the truth. That's why the tagline of SMNI is truth that matters.
For nation building, for upholding truth over narrative, for our beloved country, this is SMNI.
Kabayan! Oo, ikaw. Alam mo ba na you can win lots of prizes when you bring home a guest in the Philippines? The Department of Tourism brings you the Visita Be My Guest program. Joining is easy. 1. Sign up as a sponsor. You can do this via the official BBMG website. All Filipinos of legal age living in the Philippines or abroad can join. 2. Invite your guests. The more you invite, the more chances of winning. And 3. Travel to the Philippines and upload your proof of travel to complete the registration process and earn e-raffle tickets and the BBMG travel passport and privilege card that you can use to get discounts as you travel around our award-winning destinations in the Philippines. Join now and get a chance to win in any of the 3 raffle dates in 2023. So what are you waiting for? Come home and bring a guest to the Philippines. Sign up, invite friends and family, and travel to the world's leading beach and dive destination and the world's leading country destination for tourism, the Philippines. Visita Be My Guest in the Philippines.
Back in the news, Saudi Arabia and Russia announced to continue voluntarily reducing oil production until the end of this year. Natalia Prado will tell us more live. Natalia?
Yes, Mikey. Saudi Arabia and Russia, the key OPEC Plus partner, said it will be keeping their oil supplies cut in November despite the recent crude oil price rising.
The dengue season in the Bangladesh usually happens.
According to its energy ministry, Saudi Arabia will maintain a production of 1 million barrels of oil a day through the end of the year. Meanwhile, Russian Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak said Moscow would continue to voluntarily reduce oil export volume of 300,000 barrels per day until the end of the year. Novak also said that it will conduct a market analysis to decide whether it continues to reduce the cuts or increase the output. The Deputy Prime Minister on Tuesday dismissed the oil price cap set by the Group of 7 and the European Union, saying that the crude oil will trade at market prices. To recall, in December 2022, the EU and the G7 placed a price cap of $60 per barrel on Russian seaborne crude oil. Under the price cap, insurance, finance, and other services for Russian oil shipments will be banned if oil sells for more than $60 a barrel. This February, the EU and the G7 adopted further price caps for seaborne Russian petroleum products in a move to reduce Russia's energy income. In response to the Western cap, Russia's President Vladimir Putin made rules in February 2023 that said Russia won't sell oil to countries that follow the price cap. Novak earlier explained that the first price cap was a bad idea and that Russian companies are now following Putin's rules carefully. Mayk, this is happening while the oil prices around the world are rising because OPEC and other countries, including Russia, are making less oil. Back to you, Mikey.
Thank you. That's Natalia Prado live on SMNI Studios.
More than 1,000 people have died since January of this year as Bangladesh faces its worst dengue outbreak on record. Experts blame climate changes as the main drive behind the alarming increase in cases. Krishnada's Mazo reports.
The dengue season in Bangladesh usually happens during the monsoon season between July and September. But this year, the increase in infections started much earlier toward the end of April. And the latest figures presented by Bangladesh Directorate General of Health Services, 1,017 people have died from the mosquito-borne disease since January of this year, while the number of the infections nationwide has reached more than 208,000. The data made 2023, the deadliest year since the first epidemic was recorded in 2000. The virus is transmitted to humans through the bite of an infected Aedes mosquito. Symptoms include high fevers, headaches, nausea, vomiting, muscle and joint pains, and in the most serious cases, internal bleeding that can lead to death. The World Health Organization warned that the climate change is causing dengue and other mosquito-borne viruses such as chikungunya, yellow fever, and Zika to spread faster. Reporting, this has been Krishnada's Mazo, SMNI News.
Japan has started the second phase of releasing nuclear contaminated water into the Pacific Ocean. Kyoko Hashimoto files this report.
Tons of treated radioactive wastewater is being released again starting Thursday as the operator of the crippled Fukushima nuclear power plant begins its second phase of discharge. Some 7,800 tons of polluted water will be released into the Pacific Ocean over a 17-day period, the same as the first round according to the plan previously stated by Tokyo Electric Power Company or TEPCO, the operator of Japan's crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. Japan started a first round of contaminated water disposal on August 24 amid raging opposition among local fishermen and widespread concerns from neighboring countries. The power plant has stored more than 1.3 million tons of radioactive water in massive tanks, and the TEPCO said the discharge is planned to continue for more than 30 years. To recall, the government of Japan and TEPCO decided to discharge the diluted nuclear contaminated water treated by the Advanced Liquid Processing System or ALPS technology into the sea on the grounds that the large number of storage tanks at the facility hinders cleanup operations. Ijo Hashimoto, Kyoko, Nihon kara hokoku itashimashita. SMNI News, Japan.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky joins European leaders in Grenade to enhance European security and stability. Gravel Diaz has the details.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Granada, Spain for the third European Political Community meeting. Zelensky arrived on Thursday to join other leaders gathering to talk about making Europe safer. His main point is to make Europe secure and stable by working together with partners on enhancing the European security architecture, particularly regional security. European leaders want to improve security, especially around the Black Sea. They are also focusing on global food security and keeping navigation routes open. Ukraine wants to strengthen its air defense, especially that winter is approaching. According to Zelensky, his government have already laid the groundwork for new agreements with partners and look forward to their approval and implementation. As many as 47 heads of state and government are invited to take part in the meeting, and the forum has met twice so far. The first meeting was held in October 2022, wherein leaders talked about peace, security, and energy problems, including Ukraine's issues with Russia and energy shortages. In June, leaders discussed peace, security, energy, and improving transportation in Europe. Meanwhile, an informal meeting with European leaders will be held on Friday to help prepare the EU's next strategic agenda, which involves a 5-year policy plan. Reporting, this has been Gavril Diaz, SMNI News.
Azerbaijan's president rejected talks with the Prime Minister of Armenia, and this is because of the European support for Yerevan. Jane Kognita has the details.
Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev has said no to a planned meeting with Armenia's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan at a European summit in Granada, Spain. The reason behind this move is European support for Armenia in the ongoing conflict over the Karabakh region. Just 2 weeks ago, President Aliyev's forces successfully recaptured Nagorno-Karabakh from pro-Armenian separatists. The planned talks, mediated by France, Germany, and the European Council, were meant to address this long-standing conflict. An AFP report citing an Azerbaijani government official said that Azerbaijan didn't think it was necessary to join the talks in such a format, adding that Aliyev's decision was influenced by what they called pro-Armenian statements by French officials and concerns about weapons supplies to Armenia. French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna had recently announced Paris's agreement to provide military equipment to Armenia, though specifics were not given. EU Council President Jean-Michel also criticized Azerbaijan's use of military force. On the other hand, Armenian Prime Minister Pashinyan confirmed his attendance at the European Political Community or EPC summit in Granada, but expressed disappointment about not being able to sign a significant agreement with Azerbaijani President Aliyev regarding Karabakh. The conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh has been ongoing for years, with Armenia and Azerbaijan engaging in hostilities in the 1990s and again in a major war in 2020. Azerbaijan eventually regained control over large parts of the region. In May 2023, the Armenian government recognized Azerbaijan's claim to the territory, but also called for protection for ethnic Armenians in the region. The recent Azerbaijani offensive last September has led to most of the Armenian population in Nagorno-Karabakh fleeing, and the separatist government agreeing to dissolve amidst the ongoing tensions. To recall, starting January 1, 2024, Nagorno-Karabakh will cease to exist, and this includes all state institutions and organizations under its departmental subordination by the said date. Reporting, this has been Jane Kognita, SMNI News.
Town residents in the Australian state Victoria face threats of multiple disaster after authorities warn of flash floods less than a day after thousands escaped the wrath of raging bushfires. Sheena Saling reports.
Authorities told residents in Victoria to leave their homes immediately on Wednesday after flash floods resulted in waters rising to dangerously high levels. They warned that those who prefer to stay in their homes will face the risk of losing power, water, surge and phone networks due to flooding. Around 130 homes had been affected by the floods, according to the Victoria State Emergency Service. The warning was issued within 24 hours after bushfires that affected homes in New South Wales and Victoria also forced people to flee. As of Tuesday, around 17,000 hectares of land were ablaze and 86 fires burning in New South Wales alone. Scientists have previously warned that bushfire crisis conditions in Australia are projected to be 8 times more likely if global heating reaches 2 degrees Celsius. The country has become more prone to extreme heat, bushfires, droughts, floods, and longer fire seasons because of climate change since 1900. Reporting from Melbourne, this is Sheena Salim, SMNI News, Australia.
Newsline World will be back after the break.
Sign up as a sponsor. You can do this via the official BBMG website. All Filipinos of legal age living in the Philippines or abroad can join. 2. Invite your guests. The more you invite, the more chances of winning. And 3. Travel to the Philippines and upload your proof of travel to complete the registration process and earn e-raffle tickets and the BBMG travel passport and privilege card that you can use to get discounts as you travel around our award-winning destinations in the Philippines. Join now and get a chance to win in any of the 3 raffle dates in 2023. So what are you waiting for? Come home and bring a guest to the Philippines. Sign up, invite friends and family, and travel to the world's leading beach and dive destination and the world's leading country destination for tourism, the Philippines. Bisita, be my guest in the Philippines.
We don't need to explain, because truth needs no justification. We are not afraid, because the truth will always win. When we ask questions, it's always for the good of all. We question to build, not to break. We question to clarify, not to confuse. We question to protect, not hurt. Truth hurts, but it heals. Tune in to SMNI, where truth is free. SMNI, defining true press freedom.
Back in the news, House Speaker Martin Romualdez reacted to Vice President Sara Duterte's recent statement regarding confidential funds. Let's find out more in Jade Calabroso's report.
House Speaker Martin Romualdez said he is prepared to assist Vice President Sara Duterte with her budget request. The Speaker made the statement in response to the Vice President's speech regarding confidential funds.
We are always open and welcoming the OVP and the Secretary to give us suggestions, recommendations on whatever requirements, or whatever needs that the department or her office needs.
During the 122nd Police Service Anniversary celebration of the Police Regional Office 13 in Butuan City on Wednesday, October 4, Vice President Sara, who also serves as the Secretary of Education, emphasized the importance of confidential funds.
The allocation of confidential funds should not be constrained by time. It matters not whether it takes 1 day or 1 year of spending. What truly matters is the safety and security of our people. We cannot cap the importance of protecting our citizens based on arbitrary timeframes. We must remain committed to providing the necessary resources for our security forces to fulfill their duties and protect our nation.
So yes, we are one with the Vice President in having to make sure that confidential and intelligence funds, are always part of the equation. And of course, best left with the agencies and departments, that are most and best suited. And it's just a matter of prioritizing, matter of prioritizing and making sure that.
In the proposed 2024 national budget, several government agencies, including the Office of the President and the Office of the Vice President, have a total allocation of 10.14 billion pesos for confidential and intelligence funds. When combined, the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education will have around 650 million pesos in confidential funds in the 2024 national budget. On September 27, the House of Representatives decided to review and realign confidential funds from civilian agencies to agencies tasked with monitoring and protecting the West Philippine Sea.
We know that the West Philippine Sea has become a very, very top issue of the day. Incidents and incursions into our area, incidents with our fisherfolk, and we would like to make sure that the confidential and intelligence funds are most properly utilized, and by agencies and departments that are best suited, particularly in these aspects of deploying the proper resources and personnel for the promotion of peace and security. So,
the small committee formed by the House aims to provide an update on the planned realignment of confidential and intel funds on October 10. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Jade Calabroso, SMNA News.
Indonesia has formally declared the start of the official operation of the first high-speed railway in Indonesia. Anissa de Guzman tells us more.
The construction of the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway made Indonesia the second country worldwide to have fast commercial trains operating at a speed of 350 kilometers per hour, apart from China. Known locally as WUSH, the 7.4 billion flagship project is under China's Belt and Road Cooperation with Indonesia and connects two of the nation's major cities. WUSH is a Bahasa Indonesia acronym that translates to time-saving and reliable. The 140-kilometer railway links Indonesia's capital, Jakarta, with the country's fourth largest city, Bandung. With a speed of up to 350 kilometers per hour, the high-speed rail will reduce commuters' travel time from more than 3 hours to less than 45 minutes. The high-tech trains are equipped with intelligent sensing technology, earthquake monitoring, and an early warning system. The project unites China's Belt and Road Initiative and Indonesia's Global Maritime Fulcrum Strategy. The 10-year-old Belt and Road Initiative, initiated by China, is an ambitious plan to connect Asia with Africa and Europe through a series of land and sea networks via investments in local infrastructure. Both countries are expected to deepen their collaboration in maritime and mining industries as their comprehensive partnership grows stronger. Di siya Anissa de Guzman Rangan Chakontep Mahanakon, SMNA News, Pratethay, Sawadika.
Clark proudly showcases some of the best tourist destinations in Central Luzon, and this includes the world-class international airport. Hanajing Sancho will take us there.
Clark is proudly showcased as a perfect business hub and destination for tourism. While it's known as an industrial park, Clark is also a preferred tourism destination in the Philippines. Clark is home to world-class homegrown brands like Quest Plus Conference Center Park, Royce Hotel and Casino, Widows Hotel and Casino, and Fontana Leisure Parks, and of the world's top hotel brands such as Clark Marriott Hotel, Swiss Hotel Clark, and Park Inn by Clark. Clark is also a perfect destination for leisure and entertainment. Sports like fun runs, golf, biking, gaming, and of meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibits, or MICE. In fact, Clark received over 2 million tourists in 2022 alone. Clark also held 94 events, attended by nearly 300,000 participants. Clark also have the best tourism spots. SMNI visited some of Clark's infamous restaurants and cafe. For those who want to get a taste of the food of the locals, you can visit the Matami Authentic Kapampangan Cuisine. This is a perfect destination for lunch, dinner, and a quick snack. For Kapampangan rice delicacies, visit Susie's Cuisine, a local food business started in 1972 by Miss Anisha R. Aison. Susie's Cuisine is also famous for its pansit luglog, tibok-tibok, and mochi. For many years, sisig has gained popularity more than any other local dish in the country and has many versions depending on where it was cooked or prepared. But did you know that sisig originated from Pampanga? And it was accidentally created by the late Lucia Codanan, or better known as Aling Lusing. Aling Lusing accidentally burned a pig's ear while grilling it. She didn't want it to be a waste, so she chopped the pig's ear and put other ingredients like onions, salt, pepper, and vinegar. Her invention became a hit, and customers, including American soldiers stationed in the Clark Air Base, would often order sisig at her restaurant located on the side of the railway. Aling Lusing's sisig is authentic Kapampangan without the egg, mayonnaise, and chicharon. It's no surprise that sisig gained popularity across the country, and many celebrities like the famous chef Anthony Bourdain love it. If you are looking for comfort food, you can visit Clark's CV Bakery Plus Bistro for delicious pastries, cakes, and coffee. So sip, savor, and seize the moment. These are just few of the many popular restaurants, cafe, and tourist destinations you can find here in Clark. Locals are also proud of Clark's growing businesses. This is because Clark implements automated processing of trade permits as well as monitoring it. Obtaining entry and exit passes and account registry is also automated. This is part of the local government's aim to promote good governance, and part of their policy is to enable more business in Clark. It is not necessary to get a business permit every year in Clark. Business permits are good for 3 years here, or the special working permit is issued. Above all, the entire Freeport zone has a good CCTV system to ensure the security of business establishments. Currently, Clark is home to businesses in various industries such as service, commercial, ICT industry, industrial, tourism, logistics, institutional, developer, aviation-related, utility, and agro-industrial. Did you know that the Philippines has a world-class airport that is just over an hour's journey from Metro Manila? This is Clark Air National Airport. The Clark Air National Airport is dubbed as a new world-class gateway. It's a key architecture built with great features in place, like the roof arch that features the mountains of Arayat, Pinatubo, and Sierra Madre mountain range. Upon entering the airport, you will already feel comfortable while waiting for domestic or international flights, as it has running facilities similar to popular international airports in Southeast Asia. Currently, there are 183 flights weekly at Clark Air National Airport for 19 destinations. Did you know that there is a lounge built for overseas Filipino workers at Clark Air National Airport? The Clark leadership ensured that the OFWs waiting for their flights had a place to be comfortable while waiting for their flight. The facility is free and exclusive for our modern-day heroes. It can be remembered that OFW Party's Representative Marisa Del Mar Magsino first said that OFWs deserve to have lounges in all air national airports in the country, as they belong to a sector that has significant contribution to the Philippine economy. So what are you waiting for? Visit Clark as a tourist and business destination. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SMNI News.
Preparations are underway. New rounds of military package for Ukraine. Kirby Hill, Trinidad reports.
Finnish Foreign Affairs Minister Elina Valtonen announced through social media platform X that the country is preparing its 19th round of military package for Ukraine, and assured that Finland and the EU will support the war-torn country for as long as needed. The Finnish Foreign Minister revealed that the Baltic nation's military aid to Ukraine has reached almost 2 billion euros. She also described the war-torn country as its largest development partner. Valtonen joined her European counterparts in an informal meeting of EU foreign ministers held in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv earlier this week. The 27-country bloc proposed more than $5 billion in military aid to Ukraine as they sat down with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky during the summit. In May, Russia terminated its bilateral agreement with Finland on extra military visits. 3 months later, Finland approved approximately 94 million euros worth of military aid for Ukraine as part of its 18th military aid package. This has been Kerbal Trinidad, SMNI News.
In our sports news, Gilas Pilipinas made history at the Asian Games after defeating China. Meanwhile, jiu-jitsu fighter Margarita Ochoa has secured the second gold medal for the Philippines. RJ Perez tells us more.
The Philippine men's basketball team, Gilas Pilipinas, has the history of 19 Asian Games. This comes after Gilas Pilipinas staged a comeback win against China in the semifinals, with a score of 77-76. This victory marks the first time since 1990 the Philippines played in the gold medal game. Gilas Pilipinas will face Jordan in the finals, a team they previously faced in the preliminary round where the Philippines suffered a defeat. The Jordan team includes the TNT Tropang Giga import player Rondea Hollis Jefferson. The match between the Philippines and Jordan will take place on October 6, and the Gilas Pilipinas is guaranteed at least a silver medal. China in Chinese Taipei will compete in the bronze medal game. Meanwhile, jiu-jitsu fighter Margarita Ochoa secured the second gold medal for the Philippines in the ongoing Asian Games. Ochoa won via advantage against Bulkis Abdullah of the United Arab Emirates in the women's 48kg finals. Ochoa previously defeated Pichrada Kasitan of Thailand in the semifinals with a score of 4-2. Meanwhile, Filipina karateka Sakura Alforte won a bronze medal for the Philippines after defeating Hoi Xuan Shen of Chinese Taipei in the women's individual kata event. Alforte obtained a total score of 41.90, slightly higher than Chen's score of 41.30. At the present, the Philippines has a total of 2 gold, 1 silver, and 9 bronze medals in ongoing Asian Games. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been RJ Perez, SMNI News.
Saudi Arabia has officially announced its intention to host the FIFA World Cup in 2034. Melchizedek Cadiz has the story.
The Saudi Arabian Football Federation confirmed of its plan to bid to host the prestigious World Cup 4 years later, within minutes after losing out on the hosting rights for 2030. Through the social media platform X, the country's football association confirmed of its intention to bid for the event in 2034, inspired by Saudi Arabia's transformation journey and a commitment to deliver an amazing tournament. The Football Federation's president Yasser Al-Misahal shared the kingdom's intention to bid for the 2034 FIFA World Cup means everything for the passionate, football-loving fans of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia lost the bid to host the prestigious tournament after FIFA, the world soccer's governing body, awarded hosting rights to Spain, Portugal, and Morocco on Wednesday. The iconic sports event will land on the Spanish shores for the first time since 1982. Saudi Arabia has announced its decision to bid within minutes after losing out on the hosting rights for 2030. News of the bid comes 1 year after Qatar became the first country in the Middle East to host the world-class tournament in 2022. The plan is part of Saudi Arabia's latest initiative to turn the kingdom into a global sports powerhouse. Reporting, this has been Melchizedek Cadiz, SMNI News, Kuwait.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the message of the appointed Son of God. Hatred always destroys, while love heals.
And for our Christmas countdown is 80 days to go before Christmas. And that's all for today's edition of Newsline World. For more news update, you may visit smninewschannel.com or follow us on our official social media accounts on Bramble, Facebook, and Twitter. For God and Country, I'm Deivid Lira.
For God and Country, I'm Mayk Oliveira. Thank you for watching Newsline World, and very much thank you to our beloved pastor, Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy, for the opportunity to be part of this program. May you continue to listen on SMNI as it's delivered nothing but fair, truthful, and balanced news, because SMNI is your source of credible news.